Guys, what is Bitcoin up to today? Well, let me tell you this. It's up to basically nothing much at all. I mean, you know that meme where the guy is just like poking Bitcoin with a stick? Come on, Bitcoin, do something. And then Bitcoin just kind of explodes and does like crazy stuff. So I think Bitcoin is about to do that. It's like the calm before the storm. And I think there's going to be a huge flood soon. I know that's a terrible analogy, but look, you get the point. I think Bitcoin is in a calm before the storm, and this video is going to prepare you for the massive move that is coming up ahead. So stay tuned until the end because we have a lot of cool charts to get into, and we're going to be talking about the moon. Yes, the moon. The moon and Bitcoin, the one that you guys mocked me in the previous video, I know. It sounds stupid, but guess what? I did my research and you're going to love it. We have a couple of moving averages that are also equally very, very important. And we will also go into, additionally, the crypto breaking news updates and the biggest headlines that is happening currently in the space, where I will then end the video off with which sector in crypto am I the most bullish on and where am I allocating my money. It's going to be fantastic. And if you did smash up the like button, subscribed and became a crypto kid and turned on the notification bell, I think after doing all those three, we can definitely jump in and look into the short-term analysis for Bitcoin and see what's happening on the 4-hourly time frame. Well, thank you for liking the video. It means a lot. Let me just do some emotional guilt trapping so that you actually do leave a like on this video. But jokes aside, it would be amazing, guys. Thank you so much in advance. But on the 4-hourly time frame, Bitcoin is at a crucial level of resistance that is at 66.7k. Now, on the video I made over the weekend, we discussed that Bitcoin would likely reach this target. We also talked about it on the Crypto Kids Telegram. And after hitting this level, I mentioned that it's going to be super important on how Bitcoin reacts to it. And the reason is that this level is just so important because we found resistance, found support multiple times ever since March 5th of this year. And whenever Bitcoin tests it, it usually does have a dramatic move, either in the upwards or downwards direction. So you're asking me, okay, well, which way is it going to go? Is it going to go up, down, or continue sideways? And that's a very valid question. I think the answer will not be found on the short-term time frame, but rather on the macro. But I will say if Bitcoin breaks above 66.7 with bullish confirmation on the 4-hourly time frame, the next level of high demand for Bitcoin is going to be at 69.1k. That's the next crucial level of resistance for Bitcoin. On the macro time frame, though, we are looking rather bullish. We're in a macro bull flag, which used to be a bullish pennant, but we changed it because the support line broke and we found new support. So we are in this macro bull flag. We had a full moon yesterday. And as you guys know, whenever Bitcoin does have a full moon, we tend to go up pretty significantly. I mean, if we go back in history, that's exactly what's been happening. So I don't see any reason why onto Bitcoin not doing the same thing once again. It's just a question of how long will this upwards movement last? And I'll tell you this, I think Bitcoin will probably come back up to and hit the upper bound resistance of this bull flag. That would be the most ideal scenario because this upper bound will now become so weak that we will have a very high probability of breaking towards the upside, a higher one than at least falling down back below. If Bitcoin manages to break above 70.7 and clear the crucial 71.2k resistance line that we can see profoundly on the weekly time frame, I think Bitcoin will be ready to hit new all-time highs, but it's all going to be dependent on this week's candle and how we close it. If we close it in a bullish manner above the prior reversal hammer candle that we talked about, I think we could definitely be seeing 71.4k. Following a break of that level, then we will discuss what the scenario can be. But for the immediate short term, I think 71.4 is possible. The only time that I will be flipping bearish is going to be if Bitcoin crosses below 59 once more. And is there a chance? I think it's less likely, but it would take a black swan to get Bitcoin below 59k. And if there is a black swan, then of course we will have to reevaluate. I am being a little bit cautious because the consensio is still bearish on the 4 daily time frame. We can see that the 3 and 10 period moving averages have crossed into each other, which is not a good sign. If this candle manages to break to 67, 68k, then we will be seeing an increased likelihood of a crossover back into the bullish zone between these two moving averages, just like we did after the US spot ETF approval. We managed to cross back bullish and Bitcoin rallied towards the upside. A good sign, though, is that Bitcoin bounced perfectly from this 21 EMA. Bouncing here is a very good sign. We just need to break above this purple moving average, and then everything should be back on track. In the event that we do not break above this moving average, I think the final buying opportunity for Bitcoin is going to be at 56 to 57K. That coincides with this long-term 30-period SMA. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. I think it's looking rather good. I mean, as I said, a final buy the dip opportunity from my perspective would be at 56, but at this point in the cycle, I think it would be tough for us to break below. Breaking below there would mean that, now we've broken below the parabola, and we're probably going to enter into a new bear market. But keep in mind, this is the first red candle after like a long time. So don't be scared. If we do see a drop, it's okay. Like, the markets punish significant price movements. Nothing can go up forever. And the higher that something goes, the harder it usually falls towards the downside. We just know that historically speaking, when Bitcoin breaks a prior all-time high, we usually experience some resistance. Like, we've done so here. We've retested it. We've broken above it eventually, but we do find resistance. And the point where Bitcoin breaks it, we never, ever, ever return to that point, to that price level. We just did it once, right, with a wick, but I don't think that counts because it was a little bit of we did come down here, but it wasn't for too long of a time, and there was multiple FUD back to back. So usually Bitcoin doesn't come back down to the prior all-time highs created. So with that said, I think the macro for Bitcoin is very much bullish. And going into the breaking news, I think Grayscale's outflows will soon be shrinking because we have a new ETF. This has been anticipated for such a long time, the mini GBTC ETF that have super low management fees. It's super less costly to actually own it and keep it. The only difference is that this ETF is for buying and holding Bitcoin, whereas GBTC is for trading Bitcoin. So if we at least see some of the capital in Grayscale, the outflows of Grayscale go into BTC instead, that would give some sort of a relief in the market. But the truth is, Grayscale is becoming irrelevant because the total amount of Bitcoin held by Grayscale is currently 300,000 Bitcoin, and BlackRock have 273,000 Bitcoin. So there's about to be a flippening where eventually Grayscale is going to become irrelevant. So the mass selling pressure that we have from one entity, that's completely going to be removed, and that is a very bullish sign. But before I continue with the rest of the news, I actually want to get into the sponsor of today's video, which happens to be a gaming project. Now, I am super bullish on GameFi. GameFi is the sector that I'm allocating most of my money into, and the reason for this we'll listen to in a short clip that I kind of talked about in a conference last week. So here we go. Let's play it. A specific sector that's incredibly bullish in crypto. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I am a kid and I am a gamer. I think it's GameFi because there's 3.3 billion gamers all across the world. And the easiest model to bring these 3.3 billion people into Web3 and crypto is, I believe, by gaming, because the concept is so easy. You invest your most valuable commodity in your life, which is time, into playing games for hours and hours, and you do it because it's enjoyable to do so. But what if someone said, in exchange for this time that you put in, you can get a monetary value back? And those thousands of dollars that you spent on Fortnite, imagine if that could be an asset that potentially can increase in value over time. So I think GameFi will bring the next billion users into crypto, and that's why I'm bullish on GameFi. So yeah, I'm super bullish on GameFi because there's billions and billions of people around the world playing games on a daily basis. And another reason to why what I did not mention on stage was that AI, the AI revolution will just grow exponentially, replacing hundreds of millions of people's jobs, right? And these people will be, they'll be making their money off of a universal basic income that the government will just be giving them on a monthly basis. And of course, the government can't afford to do that because they'll be saving so much money from people not going to work. And if we have hundreds of millions of people stuck at home watching Netflix, playing video games, then whatever video game they play or whatever time that they invest into something, they will try to bring some sort of monetary value out of it, right? And I think living off of a universal basic income, whatever money that you can make is something incredible. And additionally, I think GameFi is already huge, by the way, in households, in countries where household incomes are at low levels. I mean, people are making more money playing GameFi than they actually do from their work. And I think GameFi will provide so many opportunities to hundreds of millions of people across the world. And, you know, the simple thing of just being able to earn money when you play a good game will change so many people's minds. The only issue was that the prior GameFi projects have been so bad in terms of quality. It's just been based off of farming tokens. But now they are getting better and better and better, ladies and gentlemen. It takes like 4 to 5 years to develop a AAA game. That's why it's been taking so long until we see an actual good project to play. But the sponsor of today's video is a great example of one of those amazing games. If they deliver on their game, they're currently in the alpha stage, meaning it's token gated. You need to own the token to be able to sign up and play the game at this moment. But once they release, if they release with how they're currently selling it, I think they have a huge opportunity because the game developers are from Apex Legends and Call of Duty. The graphics are incredible. It's a game that I would personally play, and you earn money in exchange for it. So I think it's incredible. If you want to check them out, they have an IDO running currently on Bybit, which the snapshot period is ending in 15 hours. I'll put a link in the description down below. But yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty cool. They've already had the fastest sellout of the year in Cetify, so massive shout out to Xverse for sponsoring today's video. I'm personally an investor, and you know, I'm very bullish on GameFi. I've invested in Medieval Empires. I've invested in Immutable X, which is kind of providing a platform for different GameFi projects. Polygon, Sandbox, Decentraland, these I've all personally invested in, and I'm planning on accumulating more over the next few weeks because really I think GameFi is super undervalued. But continuing on with the breaking news, you know, we can see that X actually has accumulated 25 different payment service licenses, which is super bullish to me because Telegram recently introduced USDT payment solutions where you can send USDT to another friend over chat, and X probably wants to compete with that, right? And because they want to do that, I think they might follow down the same root steps of Telegram and incorporate a blockchain-based project like Ton. And in Elon's case, I think Dogecoin will probably be the obvious alternative. So super bullish on Dogecoin too. And this news over here kind of links into what I talked about with the GameFi issue, right? In hyperinflationary countries, people use Bitcoin as a medium of transaction. They're unbanked. There's over 1.2 billion people in the world who are unbanked, and Bitcoin gets rid of this issue. I mean, it's a huge market. It's a $380 billion market, and Bitcoin solves that issue immediately. And there's so many things that Bitcoin solves that we can't fit into one video. But what I can say is when you compare it to gold, you cannot use gold as a currency, whereas you can use Bitcoin as a currency and as a store of value at the same time. And another mind-blowing metric is that as technology develops over time, the amount of gold produced also increases. But no matter how much technology develops with Bitcoin, the amount of actual mining or the production will never increase because the difficulty gets adjusted by itself without a central authority. And that's what makes Bitcoin something so unbelievable. But there was FUD about Bitcoin. We had transactions skyrocket to like $300 per transaction fee, and it was mind-blowing, and it was because of the halving. I asked Uncle Da Vinci, is this normal or is it not normal? And he said, don't worry, it's normal. It's like runes, this new thing launching on Bitcoin, but it should go away soon. And as he predicted, it did. So transaction fees are almost back to normal, clearing away all the FUD. And finally, ladies and gents, I want to talk about this because presidential candidate RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., says that he wants to put the entire US budget on the blockchain. Now, unfortunately, this is not going to take place because we do live in a corrupt society. If we did not live in a corrupt society, then obviously all of the voting, all of the budgets, everything would already be on the blockchain to improve transparency. And everybody would be able to see where money is going, where is it being spent on. But because we live in a corrupt society, this will unfortunately never happen. But is it a revolutionary idea? Hell yes. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your evening. God, I've done a live stream. I was touring people in school, and it's just been a very hectic day. Thank you so much for giving your time to the channel, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. So take care, and bye-bye.